It's Tuesday, the 16th of April, 2024. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the news on 3FM 92.7. We're coming to you live from our studio here, number 35, Janhaman Street in Accra. We're live also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927, also on 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby, and in the bulletin this morning, PRC finds ECG board members 5.8 million cedis over challenges with intermittent power supply, also known as DUMSO. Also coming up, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers challenges opposition, the National Democratic Congress, to provide proof of malice with regards to some missing Electoral Commission machines.
Until the NDC is able to prove to the EC that these machines can be used to do 1, 2, 3 or ABC, then we need to give them the benefit of the doubt. That is the EC.
Also coming up in the bulletin, Concerned Drivers Association calls bluff of the Transport Ministry over a directive for drivers to be arrested by police for charging illegal transport fares.
A minister issue a memo telling the police that they should arrest us, we will still take it and we'll continue to take it. We are transporters. We buy the parts, we buy the fuel. We don't buy it to give it out because we are not a charity organization.
We'll get more in the course of the bulletin. Plus, government to launch 2024 Green Ghana initiative today, but civil society organizations say it has become a mere rhetoric, not yielding any relevant impact across the country.
You cannot have an illegal mine that's destroying our trees and forests. And then you say you are what? Greening Ghana. You see, it looks like with one hand, you are purporting to green Ghana, and then with the other hand, you are destroying the existing greenery we have.
We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly, if you're still with us. Let's start off the morning with this. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PRC, has imposed a fine of 5,868,000 cedis on members of the Electricity Company of Ghana Board who served from January 1 to March 18, 2024. This action was taken due to their violation of Regulation 39 of LI 2413, which requires prior notification to consumers before any power interruption. Among those affected by the fine are Kelly Gajepo, who resigned as board chair on March 26, and the current ECG Managing Director Samuel Dubik Mahama. Now, PRC in March 18 letter had directed the ECG to issue a load shedding timetable by April 2, 2024, which was blatantly flouted without explanation. The Commission, the March 18 letter also demanded that the ECG submit the total number of planned outages that it undertook between January and March. Now, PRC, in a letter on Monday, April 15, said its analysis of the data submitted showed that 4,142 outages were carried out within the period. Parts of the statement read: the Commission established from its analysis of data submitted by the ECG that there were 4,142 outages to consumers within ECG's operational areas between January and March 2024. Out of this number, 165, representing 3.98% of the total outages, were ECG planned outages. Further analysis showed that of the 165 ECG planned outages, 40 were supported by public notices, while there were no notices for the remaining 15. Now, the regulator indicated it is imposing a 3,000 penalty units on ECG for each breach it's committed in its defiance of complying with the timetable directive. It added that the fine be imposed on ECG's board members due to the ownership structure. Now, the 9 board members have up to May 30, 2024 to pay the fine into a dedicated account under the joint control of the Ministry of Energy and the Ministry of Finance. So we're keeping an eye on this and bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. But moving on, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers has challenged the National Democratic Congress to provide proof of malice in the case of some missing election materials from the premises of the Electoral Commission. The opposition, the National Democratic Congress, is requesting the involvement of credible international bodies in a comprehensive investigation into the alleged theft of some equipment from the offices of the Electoral Commission. General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Kwete, warns that the Commission's admission of missing devices poses a significant threat to the sanctity of the December polls.
The assurances do not suffice in the face of potential electoral tampering or fraud. We cannot and must not accept this. We therefore demand with utmost urgency a full and transparent investigation into these thefts. Investigation to be conducted with oversight from credible, independent international bodies. We further call for a comprehensive review and overhaul of all security protocols within the EC.
Vivi Quete is the General Secretary of the NDC, but National Coordinator of CODEO, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, Albert Ahin, says the NDC must provide evidence to make a concrete case.
When we register in this country, at the end of the day, when they close, the people who register for that day are given to every party. So, doesn't it stand to reason that at the end of the day, when you put it together, you may want to compare it with that of the EC, or even maybe with some of your party guys, to ascertain whether the numbers tally. If they don't tally and something is untoward, then of course the EC is to blame for that. You see, so until the NDC is able to prove to the EC that these machines can be used to do 1, 2, 3 or ABC, then we need to give them the benefit of the doubt.
That's Albert Ahin, who is the National Coordinator of CODEO there. Moving on, the Concerned Drivers Association has called the bluff of the Transport Ministry of a directive for drivers to be arrested by police for charging new transport fares. The ministry has directed the police service and other security agencies to look out for any commercial driver who has resorted to charging new transport fares outside the existing one, thereby putting undue burden on commuters. In a statement signed by its public relations unit and released in Accra, the ministry said negotiations for new public transport fares are still ongoing with the road transport operators following the recent increase in fuel prices and other related operational costs. But General Secretary of the Concerned Drivers Association, David Abuado, says in the face of increasing fuel prices and other maintenance costs, they will go ahead to charge new fares.
So if a minister issue a memo telling the police that they should arrest us, we will still take it and will continue to take it. We should come from where he is going hidden and then come out from his shelf and come and face it. We are transporters. We buy the parts, we buy the fuel, we buy the insurance, we buy the DVLA paper to work with. We don't buy it to give it out because we are not a charity organization.
That's the voice of David Abuado, who is the General Secretary of the Concerned Drivers Association. Away from that, government will this morning launch its 2024 Green Ghana initiative, but civil society organizations in the environment sector have questioned the genuineness of this initiative, saying the exercise has become a mere rhetoric, not yielding any relevant impact across the country. According to the Eco-Conscious Citizens and the Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group, the yearly campaign appears to be a cynical public relations exercise overseeing massive destruction to forest reserves and vegetation. They are demanding the immediate withdrawal of EI 144 and LI 2462. Aula Sewa is an executive of the Eco-Conscious Citizens.
What you want to do is to add to the existing trees you have. You don't want to get rid of the trees you have and then purport to be greening Ghana. So we've given concrete examples. We've said, for example, that you can't have EI 144 declassifying, that is removing parts of the forest from the forest reserve in Achimota. And then you cannot have LI 2462, which allows virtually unfettered access to our forest reserve.
You hear the voice of Awula Sewa. The International Monetary Fund says it expects the government of Ghana to reach an agreement with its creditors to trigger the release of some $360 million. This was announced by the IMF after it announced reaching a staff-level agreement on the second review of Ghana's economic recovery plan. Ghana failed to strike a deal with two bondholder groups to restructure $13 billion of international bonds. The government said on Monday in a blow to its efforts to swiftly emerge from default and economic crisis. Economist Patrick Asumi says Ghana must act swiftly in order to meet the timelines for the release of the next tranche.
That says that it's not subject to meeting the parameters set by the IMF. It just tells you all you need to know. But I think we have to understand that these negotiations are usually long, drawn-out negotiations. It takes quite some time because, the parties have different interests. And even among the bondholder groups, there are different people with different interests. So I take it that the tweet from the ministry is taking cognizance of what the IMF will expect and will accept as meeting the required parameters for our debt operations.
Well, according to former President and the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama, Ghana's future is in danger following the collapse of the country's negotiations with its external creditors.
Negotiations with the international bondholders has collapsed. And that is very bad news for Ghana. Because are we going to reopen the negotiations and IMF say the agreements or what they were negotiating is not even enough to be able to alleviate Ghana's debt? That whatever was being negotiated is not enough to extricate us from the debt trap.
The voice of John Dramani Mahama, the ending the morning news on 3FM 92.7. The small news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby, and Business News is up next. Good morning.